The 3rd of April, 1899, Volume 2. Humility without confidence is false virtue. After going through several days of privation and of tears, I found myself all confused and annihilated within myself. In my interior, I kept saying continuously, "Tell me, oh my good, why have you moved away from me? Where have I offended you, that you no longer make yourself seen? And if you show yourself, you are almost concealed and silent. Oh, please do not make me wait and wait any longer, for my heart cannot take any more." Finally, Jesus showed himself a little more clearly, and in seeing me so annihilated, he told me, "If you knew how much I like humility. Humility is the littlest plant that can be found, but its branches are so high as to reach heaven, wind their way around my throne, and penetrate deep into my heart. This little plant is humility, and the branches which this plant produces are confidence. So there cannot be true humility without confidence. Humility without confidence is false virtue." From the words of Jesus, it shows that my heart was not only annihilated, but also a little discouraged. End of the reading. The 3rd of April, 1915, Volume 11. Just as heaven is above the earth with its lights so that man may live, the soul needs the heaven of the divine will. My always adorable Jesus continues to come every now and then, but without changing his look of threats and chastisements. If sometimes he delays, he comes with such a look as to move to pity. Tired, exhausted, he attracts me to himself and transforms me into himself. Then he enters into me and transforms himself into me. He wants me to kiss his wounds one by one, to adore them, and to offer reparation. Then, after he has made me soothe his most holy humanity, he tells me, my daughter, it is necessary that I come to you every once in a while to take rest in you, to be soothed, to pour myself out. Otherwise, I would cause the world to be devoured by fire." And without giving me time to tell him anything, he escapes. Now, this morning, as I was in my usual state, and since he was delaying, I thought to myself, what would have happened to me during these privations of my sweet Jesus if it wasn't for the holy divine volition? Who would have given me life, strength, help? O holy divine volition, in you I enclose myself, in you I abandon myself, in you I rest. Ah, all run away from me, even the suffering, and even that same Jesus who once seemed unable to be without me. You alone do not escape from me, O holy will of God. Please, I beg you, when you see that my weak forces can take no more, reveal to me my sweet Jesus, whom you hide from me and whom you possess. O holy volition, I adore you, I kiss you, I thank you, but don't be cruel with me. As I was thinking and praying like this, I felt invested by a most pure light, and the holy volition, revealing Jesus to me, told me, my daughter, the soul without my will would have been like the earth without the heavens, stars, sun, and moon. The earth in itself is nothing other than precipices, steep heights, waters, and darkness. If the earth did not have a heaven above, which shows man the way to recognize the different dangers which the earth contains, man would go forward, now falling, now drowning, etc. But there is a heaven above, especially with the sun, which says to man in a mute language, "See, I have no eyes, no hands, and no feet, but I am the light of your eyes, the action of your hand, and the step of your foot. And when I have to illuminate other regions, I leave you the shining of the stars and the light of the moon to continue my office." Now, as I gave heaven to man for the good of his nature, to his soul too, which is more noble, I gave the heaven of my will, because the soul too contains precipices and steep heights, which are passions, virtues, tendencies, and other things. If the soul moves out from underneath the heaven of my will, she will do nothing other than fall from sin to sin. Passions will drown her, and the heights of virtues will turn into abysses. Therefore, just as everything would be disordered and infertile on the earth without a heaven, the same happens in the soul without my will. End of the reading. The 3rd of April 1920, Volume 12. The whole will of God in creating man was that he would do his will in everything in order to develop his life in him. Continuing in my poor state, I felt my lovable Jesus in my interior, who was uniting with me in prayer. Then he told me, my daughter, my whole will in creating man was that he would do my will in everything. And as he would continue to do my will, little by little, I would complete my life in him in such a way that after repeated acts done in my will, forming my life in him, I would come to him, and finding him similar to me, as the son of my life would find son of my life formed in his soul, it would absorb him within me. And as the two would be transformed together, like two sons into one, I would bring him into the delights of heaven. Now, as the creature does not do my will, or if she does it every now and then, my life is halved by the human life, and the divine life cannot be completed. It is obscured by the human acts, and does not receive abundant food sufficient to the development of a life. Therefore, the soul is in continuous opposition to the purpose of creation. And alas, how many are those who, by living the life of passions and of sin, form the diabolical life within themselves? End of the reading. The 3rd of April 1927, Volume 21. Effects of a love that loves freely, and effects of a forced love. How the acts done in the divine will are done with fullness and are complete and exuberant. While I was all afflicted because of his privation, and almost petrified by the pain of seeing myself as though forgotten by my beloved Jesus, he came out from within my interior, and leaning his hands upon my shoulders, he placed his head on my breast and breathed strongly, saying, all await your acts. And while breathing, he drew all of my acts done in his will into himself and added, my daughter, the acts done in my will are my acts. Therefore I've come to take them with my breath as I breathed upon your breast. In fact, since they are my acts, everyone awaits these acts of yours, and I will go to spread them in all creation, in order to receive in the whole universe the honour of a free active creature. As this will of creature comes into mine and operates, freely, not by force, I receive the honour of a free will, which is the greatest honour for me that befits me as God. A free will that loves me and voluntarily annihilates itself in order to do my will and in order to operate in it is the great portent of creation, for which all things were created, because they were to serve this will, free, not forced, to love me. And this will, having dominion over all things and enjoying all creation, was to serve as the will of all created things. In fact, they do not have a will, but the creature was to serve as will for them, in order to give in each created thing her will and her love to her creator. And only in my will can the human will diffuse in everything, to give this honour so great to its creator. My daughter, a will that does not love me freely but by force means distance between creature and creator. It means slavery and servitude. It means dissimilarity. On the other hand, a free will that does mine and loves me means union between the soul and God. It means sonship. It means that what belongs to God belongs to her. It means likeness, of sanctity, of love, of manners. So much so that whatever one does, the other does as well. Wherever one is, the other is also. This is why I created man with a free will, to receive this great honour that befits a God. I would not know what to do with a will that loves me and sacrifices itself by force. Even more, I do not even recognize it, nor does it deserve any reward. So this is why all my aims are upon the soul who, of her own free will, lives in mine. A forced love is of men, not of God, because men are content with appearances and do not go deep inside into the gold of the will in order to have a sincere and loyal love, just like a king who is content with the subjection of his soldiers as long as he has his army formed, does not care whether the soldiers have their wills far away from him. However, if their wills are far away, he might have the army, but he will not be safe, because it can be an army that is plotting against his crown and his life. A master might have many servants, but if they do not serve him willingly, but out of necessity, out of convenience, out of fear, or to receive their wages, these servants who eat of his bread might be his first enemies. But your Jesus, who sees the depth of the will, is not satisfied with appearances. And if this will spontaneously wills and lives in my will, then my glory, the creation, everything is safe, because it is not servants that possess it, but my children, who love so much the glory of their celestial Father as to be ready and to feel honoured to give their own lives for love of him. Afterwards, I felt all immersed in the eternal fiat. My beloved Jesus added, "My daughter, in my will all acts are done in the fullness of light. Therefore they are acts filled with all goods. These acts are complete acts in such a way that nothing must be missing, and they are so exuberant as to overflow for the good of all. See, as you, in my will, were calling my celestial Mama, the angels and the saints, to love me, I felt the love of my Mama, the love of the angels, the love of all heaven, being repeated in you. As you were calling the sun, the heavens, the stars, the sea, and all created things around me to give me the love and the glory of my works, I felt everything I did in creating the sun, the heavens, the stars, the sea, and all the love that I put out in the whole creation being repeated in you. So the soul who lives in my will is the repeater of my acts, and by locating them, she gives me what I gave to her. Oh, how your Jesus delights receiving from the littleness of the creature the honours, the love, and the glory of his own acts, full, complete, and exuberant." End of the reading. There are no more readings today.